is the lecture number 27 of the deep learning course. In this session, we are going to talk about two important architectures into the deep learning domain for the sequence processing. They are called the LSTM and GRUs. So we are going to see this. As you know that in the last class, we were discussing a concept called RNN, recurrent neural network. So we have seen that there was a simple neural network architecture where there was some hidden layer, there was some input layer, and there was some output layer. Output layer was fully connected, and these hidden layers were also fully connected. And what we did in the last class, that we have added one more state. We have added one more state and connected this with the input that we are going to get at this particular point of time. But this input is not being used for the this input was not being used for the computation of the output. However, when the next time the input is being fed, at that time this value has been provided to some another connection, and this information is then passed to this one and all other things. So ultimately, whatever decision being taken at this particular place is going to be dependent upon this particular line. Means whatever being input at the previous thing. In the last class, we have seen that if we go ahead in this particular way, so if we want to train, and you know that this is the all the circuit that has the same circuit has been shown with respect to the different point of time when I was inputting. So x1, x2, x3 different input are being placed. So what happens that if you want to train this particular system, we have seen that initially for example, if you are expecting here y7 as an output, you would not be getting y7 as an output because system is not trained. So let me call it whatever output that you are going to get is, let me call it y7 hat. So there would be a difference between y7 and y7 hat. So we want to find out what the square of this particular quantity, or maybe some log likelihood of this quantity, that how bad this particular output is with respect to the expected output. And then we have seen that we are going to find out a summation term that is going to be the summation of all the individual terms JIs. We have seen that if we, as always we do, that whenever you want to find out a particular weight, what is the right value of weight, you are going to say that you are going to add some small portion to that what is the delta W, and delta W is alpha times some of what is the derivative of this function with respect to the W. Finding out this particular quantity, we have seen that is a complex task, and as we have seen there that it involves multiple things, because you know that if you want to modify anything, it is going to be dependent upon all the states that were there. So therefore this particular quantity has a lot of multiplication term, and what happens that if there are multiple multiplication terms, we have also seen that all these things are actually going to be upper bounded. So in case we say that this upper bounded term C that we actually last time we had talked about, if it is greater than greater than 1, maybe even if it is 1.1, so we have seen that after doing multiple number of multiplications, it becomes very large. And in the same way, if this value is actually less than 1, for example 0.9, so same thing happens that the overall value actually instead of 0.9 becomes 0.3 after 10 multiplication. We have seen that. So it is a very bad kind of effect that happens with the gradient. So the value that actually you are going to have, since it is a multiplication of all these things, and this value becomes very small as compared to it becomes very small if you are actually going to consider the long sequences. So therefore training suffers, and you were not able to train. So we have discussed all these things in the last class, and we have also discussed this particular concept also, that this particular slide also, where we have actually discussed that if this is the problem, so one solution could be clipping. What does it mean? That instead of using the complete thing, I'm going to use only some portion of the things. Means only, for example, 5 size or k size string to train my system. I'm not training with the complete string. I'm only using the 5 size thing or whatever k size things to train my system. This this is called the truncated back propagation. Another method could be if the C, if, for example, whatever the delta W that we were talking about, if it is greater than, goes beyond to some upper threshold, we say that I'm not going to use the actual value. Instead, I'm going to use some smaller value that may be my threshold, for example, 1.7 or so. Similarly, if this by multiplication will become very small, I can take, for example, 0.7. It is going to be below the 0.7. I am going to use 0.7 like that. This is called the clipping or truncated back propagation. In the last class, we have discussed all these things, but however, we realize this particular fact that if we are using these things, what is going to happen? Truncated back propagation is a good thing, but to solve your problem of vanishing and exploding gradient, but what would happen that it would not be able to find out the context from this particular area. So long-term dependencies that actually we wanted to bring into my system is actually not possible to be brought in this particular scenarios. So there was a very interesting idea that is called the LSTM that came around 1997 way back. So that was an old concept introduced. So we are going to see this particular concept today. And also there is another thing that is a ZRU. So they are going to solve this problem by having a specialized circuit. Okay, so here what was happening that everything I'm going to feed in one kind of circuit. Okay, so what about something like this, that if in this, instead of using one thing, there are multiple things that are actually tracking to the different kind of thing that we want to do. For example, what we want to do. So if there is a string, what happens? That let's assume that there is a string, and we want to maintain the long-term dependency. What does it mean? That there comes a word, and this word we have to carry out to till some point so that we can maintain the context. Okay, so is there any neural network circuit? Can there be a neural network circuit that when it sees this particular word, remembers it and keep this word into the memory until we reach to this particular point? So can we have a specialized circuit for that? So you know that it's a kind of classification problem, that at what time we should forget, at what time we should learn what. So it becomes easy as compared to the previous one. This task is easy, that at this particular point what I have to forget. If some specialized circuit has been trained for that, it can do it easily. Similarly, what to learn, what to add. For example, if you are telling something and there is a full stop, and after that you start speaking something, so means what? Whatever context here you are maintaining, it actually got lost. So maybe after seeing some of the full stop or any kind of special kind of words, it may be possible that you can tell that no, now the next concept has started, next context has started, and you should forget everything whatever been over there, or you should start new things. You could start learning new things. People are talking about new things. So what to forget, what to learn, what to change, all these things are important. So we are going to see a specialized circuit that is called LSTM that actually devotes a special neural network circuits that can do these tasks. What are these tasks? Let me talk about this. So there are three important tasks. One is the forget, what to forget, what to store. What to store means what to maintain. Okay, what context I'm going to maintain, what to output. These three things, for all these three things, what to output, what to forget, what to store, I am going to have separate circuit. And these circuits are not only three, there are four different circuits. And let me as we are going along this particular slide, you would see that how the things are actually done. So there are four different specialized neural network circuit. Once again, earlier we were talking about that there is only one neural network circuit, and that is called RNN, and there is some input and output, and we are going to see that input-output relationship with respect to the state. It was happening like that. But now what I'm telling, that instead of the single thing, there are multiple things inside. Okay, and those neural network, how many? Four specialized neural network circuits are there. So earlier only one neural network circuit was there, but here logically different distinct work has been performed by the four different kind of neural network circuits. In totality, they do that: what to forget, what to store, and what to output. They are responsible for this thing, and by this they can better represent the memory. Any problem on that? Any questions on that? So more details are going to come. I'm going to tell you more details very soon. So any questions till now? Online students, you can type yes or no. No, sir? Okay, great. So let me tell you one more thing that has nothing to do with this kind of circuit. And please tell me this. For example, if you have some value, let me call it 15, okay, and you want to change this to some other value. I don't know, maybe 6 or maybe 25. You want to change this to something like that. So what are the possible changes? Okay, one change could be that you reduce something, or another could be you can increase something. If you want to reduce something, I can say that you forget something, and if you increase something, I can say that you learn something. Okay, you are going to learning, or you are going to forgetting something. So how can I get this 25? How can I reduce this to get 25? Any idea? So you can think that I don't forget anything. I can increase. Now, multiple ways are possible. I can say that. You can say that I'm not going to forget anything. I'm going to increase 15 plus 10. Okay. I'm going to increase. Or you can say that I'm going to forget this context. I'm going to forget. So whatever I have, I'm going to lose 1/3 of that. So 1/3 you are going to lose means what? It becomes 5, and then you are going to say that I'm going to learn something and I'm going to add 20 on that. It again becomes 25. There are two different ways. Okay, so in one time it was actually you are telling that I'm not here, I was not forgetting anything. In this particular line you are not forgetting anything. So if you include all these things, two things are possible. Once you forget and then you learn something. Any questions on that? It's very simple thing. Okay, even I have not explained this much. What my point is that if you want to forget something, so forget cannot be anything that is being added or subtracted. Adding or subtracting is a learning part, that how much you are going to add. Because adding and subtraction, you know that in the computer science domain they are same. It is just a matter of just sign. If you want to subtract something, you take the 2's complement and add it. So ultimately you are going to add only. So learning, if you are adding something, it is going to be learning. Okay, either it is a positive learning or negative learning, it is learning. So if you want to reduce anything, so is it a right way to add something? Answer is no. What would be the way to reduce the thing? The multiplication is the only thing that you can do. If you want to reduce anything, you have to multiply with some factor that is actually less than 1. Or if you want to amplify, then you can use the factor that is greater than 1. So if you want to forget something, you should not add something, because adding and subtracting are the same thing. As I told you, that adding and subtracting are the same thing. Only the direction is the thing that makes addition or subtraction. So if you want to forget something, you have to multiply. Any questions on that? If you want to forget something, you have to multiply. If you want to learn something, you have to add. Whether this part is clear or not? Yes or no? All right, sir. So whether this part is okay, everybody from online? So if you want to forget something, you have to multiply. If you want to learn something, you have to add. Okay, learning could be positive and negative. So learning means value can be reduced also. That is fine. This is okay. Can you write yes or no? Anybody? Can you write yes or no? If you have a question, you can ask. What I wanted to tell, is this, that if you want to learn something, you have to add. Because if some value is, if you have some value, if you want to learn something, you can add some value. This addition can be positive and negative in the both the direction. Am I audible? Jai Shankar, Jai Shankar, Purusharth. Yes. So what I'm telling, that if you want to learn something, you have to increase the value. If you want to forget something, you have to multiply with a factor that is actually less than 1. That's it. Okay. So if it is clear to you, so once again, let me tell you something that is actually, look, these things are not related to my computation anyway. I also want to tell you one thing, that if you have a value V, this value, if you want to forget something, you have to multiply that how much, what is the forget factor. There should be some forget factor, you have to multiply with the forget factor. After that, if you want to learn, so you have to add V multiplied by F. You have to add to this something, what I have learned. But as I told you that learning could have the direction, so you put what is the direction of this particular learning? Is it a positive direction or the negative direction? You say that D multiplied by L. So final value is going to be, if you initially you have the V value and you want to apply something, it is V multiplied by F plus D multiplied by L. So in this way, you should modify the value. This I'm talking about on the philosophical level. Everybody, are you agreeing with me that in this way we should modify the values? Say yes or no. Yes. Okay. So let me ask another question, that you can also tell that, sir, if I have the value V, so I can learn V is equal to V plus something DL. Initially you learn something and then after you forget, you say that V plus DL multiplied by F forget factor. Is it also the right strategy? Yes or no? Is it also the right strategy? Yes or no? You can type YRN. Nandan. Yes or no? Whether this is also the right strategy? Purusharth? I don't think the people are seen. Probably yes. Okay. So let me tell you that this is what this means. This actually means nothing more than this, that it is V multiplied by F plus D multiplied by LF. And LF says means whatever you are learning, it is multiplied by F. So why you are learning L over here? You should learn LF over here, because if you are sure about that how much you should learn, so instead of learning L, you should learn LF. It would automatically happen. Okay. So having F at this particular place, having F at this outside, second thing doesn't make any sense, because it actually says that you are not learning properly. If you were learning properly, then you may have learned LF here itself. Okay, if it was the right thing. So this multiplying factor is actually unnecessary. Therefore, this pipeline which I just discussed is actually not that much philosophically correct. So what is the best what is the right pipeline? Right pipeline is this, that if you have a value and you want to update it, first you have to multiply with the forget factor, that how much you want to reduce, then how much you want to learn, you can add that thing and you can get the final value. Yeah. So now I need yes for everybody, that you understand fully. That's what I told you. Everybody write yes. You understand this? Yes. All right. Now let us see that how it is implemented in my circuit. I have a neural network circuit. Here I am going to implement the same thing. Let me tell you what it is. So there is a box. You can think that it is a black box for you, the LSTM. We are going to see inside that what is there. So there is a context that I'm going to see. So initially we are into the context t-1, and after that, when the input, that is at the time t, when the input has been supplied to me at the time t, my context changes. So it is something that I'm going to store into the thing. I'm going to store over here. So based on this context, my hidden state is also there. That is what is my HT, that is my hidden state. What is the network state that I have? And when I'm going to provide this thing and processing happens, that after that my state also modifies to ST+1. If you want to find out the output, you just connect this ST with some sigmoid activation and multiply with the V, and you can find out that what is the output over there. So there is some internal storage that maintains that what is the context over here. All right. So context, this is the thing that I have stored. So I have to multiply this with some factor. So I have to find out some factor that I can multiply with that. So this is the value. I'm going to multiply this with something. So this thing that I'm going to multiply, from where it would come? It would come from the input, because it would depend upon the input. So based on the input and based on the real state, HT and HT-1, based on that thing, I'm going to have a neural network that multiplied something that and apply some bias and apply an activation and find out that how much I have to forget. Am I right? Does it make sense? If I want to find out how much I have to forget, so as I told you that I'm going to have a separate neural network circuit for that, that is going to tell me that how much I have to forget. So it is going to use this value, and it applies whatever learning it has, because it has its own weight, it has biases inside this particular network, and then it tells that what is my factor that I have to multiply, and then I would multiply this with this particular line. All right, what I told you once again, that there is a neural network circuit that has some weight and biases. Using those weight and biases, you sees that what is the input that is being provided to me. It applies a sigmoid and tells me that how much I have to forget. So this is a neural network circuit. Everybody, any questions, any confusion on that? It tells that how much I have to forget. This value is going to be multiplied with this, whatever we have stored earlier. And now you are ready with this something that you have. Once again, V is multiplied, V multiplied by F. How to find out this? At the time t, this multiplying factor, there is a specialized neural network circuit on that. It has been trained on that. Therefore, we are not going to inside it. Based on the data, it had learned that what to forget at this particular moment. Let's assume that it has been done. Make sense? Okay. Now, I told you that on this particular thing, I have to add something. So how to add? What to add? Again, it is going to be dependent upon these values only. So I say that ST-1 and XT, they are going to be combined, and I'm going to apply some, let's assume that there is a neural network circuit that applies its base and weights and biases and tells me that how much I have to add. So there is a neural network circuit that tells that how much I have to learn. Make sense? How much I have to learn. The second thing, how much I have to learn. Any questions on that? So at the time t, how much I have to learn? Again, the same kind of thing, that I'm going to use these two values and use these values to provide into this particular neural network circuit is going to tell that how much I have to learn. But as I told you that this also required that in which direction you have to learn, whether it is a constructive direction or negative direction, it is a positive or negative thing. So again, you have to add, there is one more term that is going to tell you that what is the direction of this particular learned quantity. So again, the same kind, a neural network circuit has been trained who is going to apply the activation as a tanh. Why tanh? Because tanh has the answer as a -1 and +1. It gives you the value from -1 and +1. Sigmoid gives you the value from 0 to 1. So how much you are going to learn, it is going to find out by this. And tanh, this particular separate neural network circuit, this is the third neural network circuit I'm talking about. It is going to tell me that in which direction I'm going to have this. Once again, V has been multiplied by this VF, V multiplied by F at the T. Then I'm going to use these two quantities. What are these two quantities? One applies tanh, means what is the direction, and another is that what is the quantity, how much I have to learn. And this value has been added to the previous thing. Okay. Once again, it is going to be added to the previous thing. This is a plus thing. And after that, your context has been modified. This is how you modify your context. So let me tell you that what is the formula. Everybody understand that there is a, just focus on this particular part. Okay. Just focus on this particular part. Let me tell you. This is the multiplying factor. CT-1 was the previous value. And this multiplying factor is going to be multiplied over there. Here I was adding something, so the tanh part actually C tells that what is the direction, and this thing tells that what is the amount. By this I got the new context. Everybody okay with that? Everybody should be happy and okay with that. Can you write yes or no that you understand this concept? Can you write yes? Do you understand this formula fully? All right, excellent. So if you understand this thing, so remaining part is very easy. So what is left? So now you have the context. You want to update that what is the state. Again, if you want to update the state, what is going to happen? That is going to dependent upon this particular value, because you have now you have the context. Some input is also going to come based on that thing. You are going to update that what is my next state. So I'm going to use the things from again. I'm going to apply a sigmoid that is going to find out that what is the output that I have, what is the output I have. On this thing, on context, I'm going to apply the tan h, and then I'm going to multiply these things to find out that what is the next state. Okay. So this ht also goes over here, and here you can, if you want to find out that what is the output, you can apply sigmoid and related weights and find out that what is the output. So this is the fourth neural network circuit that gives you that what is the output. Again, this is not a very, nothing need to be more emphasized over here, except the fact that what was the earlier state, what is the x. Based on that, it has a weight parameter, so it applies the output parameter and bias related to whatever it had learned and tells that what is the output. This output should be dependent upon the current context. So I apply the tan h on this current context, and then I find out that what is the next state. So this is a very specialized kind of circuit. Let me tell you, very, very influential paper that has 57,000 citations till date. Okay, and this paper came out in 1997. As you know that at that time it was very difficult to train these kind of systems, so people were not using this. For very long, at least 10 years, people were not using this kind of circuit. But recently, you can see that at various places, you can find out that I'm using LSTM, I'm using LSTM. Many people are applying the LSTM. So this is the overall circuit. Any questions on that? So very interesting paper, okay? Next thing came in around 2014, and this is a 2014 paper that actually was talking about something else. It is a learning phrase representation using RNN encoder decoder for statistical machine translations. And this paper is available on the archive, and this is one of the very excellent examples that the people put the very good things on the archive, and it should also be respected into the equal way. So this is a very interesting paper, and it has a 16,000 citations. It came out in 2014. It says that the advantages that I was going to get using LSTM maybe got with the less computation only. Means why use these 4 things? Maybe using 3 things I can do the similar kind of operations. Okay, so this is the circuit that actually it says the same things are also here. So as you know that it says that instead of using a very large pipeline, you just try to see that what to reset and what to update. And using these things only, you can simplify the circuit and tell that what is the right way. Again, the same way that if you want to find out, so here, let me tell you that it is not going to maintain the context. It is going to say that what was the earlier hidden state and what is the new hidden state. And here I'm going to provide something. So let me tell you this circuit, okay? At the time t, I'm going to provide some input. This input and the previous thing has been fed to this particular circuit to find out that what to reset. Same thing has fed to this another circuit that tells that what to update, what to reset and what to update. You know that anything that need to be reset to be multiplied with the previous thing. So st minus 1 to be multiplied by this particular value. So on this particular line, st minus 1 is multiplied by this particular value, and it goes into this thing to compute that what is the output that I'm going to get. But you know that this what I'm going to learn need also to be added over here. So let me one by one tell. What to find out the what to reset. Again, as we have told that there is a neural network circuit, related weights would be there. So there is a weight associated that how much I have to multiply with this thing, how much I multiplied by these 2 things. So there are 2 different weights. They are going to be multiplied by the previous thing. There is a bias, and it tells that how much I have to forget. Any problem in this particular equation? This particular equation is very simplified. That tells that there are weights. They are multiplied. For example, here I have the weight xr and xr with respect to the x, and weight hr with respect to this particular value. And using these things, I'm going to find out how much I have to reset. Then how much I have to update the same formula. The same formula I'm going to utilize, that how much I have to, once again, how much I have to update, again the same formula, but it is a different neural network circuit that I've learned how to update, and it tells you that how to update. Using these two things, this particular GRU says that I'm going to find out a hidden state. Okay. It is an estimation of the hidden state. Once we can say that it is an estimation of the hidden state. That's why there is a hat over here. Estimation of the hidden state. How to find out the hidden state? You know that whatever the multiplying factor that I have obtained over here, this need to be multiplied with the previous h. Yes or no? Because I told you now, whatever the earlier state was there, I find out that this is the thing that I have to forget. So you have to multiply this, then you multiply with the weight, and then whatever current input is, you multiply with the weight and find out that and apply the tan h. Tan h gives you positive, negative. That this is the state that I'm going to have. This is my estimation of the state. Make sense? However, there is one very important part that is being applied over here that actually says that I am going to this jet, because we have only utilized this particular partner RT. I have not used ZT. ZT is going to be now going to play a role that tells that I had the earlier state HT minus 1, new state that I'm going to call at a H estimate. So how much I should use previous thing and how much I should use the new that is expected to get the new state. So new state that is h at the time t is going to be a convex combination of the previous both the things. So there is a factor. Let me say that. The factor is alpha here. So 1 minus alpha factor is going to be multiplied with this. So it is a convex combination of these two values. And by this you combine, you make that what is the next thing that you are going to have. So ZT is used into the same way. So ZT here, alpha is actually ZT. So alpha 1 minus alpha is actually something that actually tells you that how much, because you know that the value of alpha need to be between 0 and 1 if you want to find out the convex combination, and sigmoid gives you that thing, the value into the range of 0 and 1. So by this, you update what is the next state. So from one state, you go to the next state, you feed another input, you get next state, you keep doing this. And if you are trained into the right way, so at the right time, you will be able to take the right decisions. So this is the important circuit that mostly popularly people say that gated recurrent unit or GRUs. So this is the another circuit. So here, instead of 3 neural networks, how many neural networks you have? Instead of 4 neural network in LSTM, how many neural network you have? You have 3. LSTM has 4 circuits. Here you have only 3 circuits, 3 neural network circuits. So training is easy. So you are going to deploy the less computation. That is the important part that we have discussed earlier. Any questions on that? Let me show you that what is some of the examples that are very interesting. Okay. This slide is with you, and I have a program that I have written into 2 slides. So this is, I think, how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Next slide also. So 40 line codes only. I have written, let's assume the 40 line codes to do a specific task. And the task is this. 5 numbers are fed and we want to the second one as an output. So what do I mean by this? That I am going to develop a machine ML-based model. I am going to design a ML-based model where I am going to feed a vector. Vector contains how many numbers? 5 numbers. So 5 numbers are fed to the system. Okay, 5 numbers are fed to the system. And what is the output? The second number is actually the output. Let's assume that the second number is output. Let's assume that the second number is an output. So once again, I am going to create an array that contains how many numbers? 5 numbers. And I am telling that the second number is an output. So this number I am also going to provide. So I'm going to make 10,000 such pairs where I am generating 5 numbers, and second number by myself I'm going to put over here. And I have created thus this a database of 10,000 numbers. Okay, I have a model. I am telling that I am going to create a model that is a very simplified model. You can just see that it is a sequential model. It is a sequential model where LSTM blocks are deployed. One layer where I'm going to have the 25 different LSTM things. So very simple model I have deployed. So on this model, this database has been sent and it has been trained. Now, have I told anything that how to find out this thing? In this particular setting, have I told anything that how to find out this value? No. So how can I find out this answer? Because if let's assume that I provide you this particular vector and I ask you that give me this particular output. So there could be multiple ways, because multiple functions exist that take all these values into the system and give you this particular thing. But LSTM was able to this particular program actually shows that with a 100% accuracy, LSTM was able to track that, okay, I need not to go for any functions. This particular thing is inside this particular input, and it was able to give accuracy. So, however, the learning was used, means it is a very small program, and only 10,000 examples are provided. With the small size vector, you can just change all these things and type and try to run this thing. Very simple example. Interesting. So, another example. Another example is a Shakespeare's like text. So whatever Shakespeare has written, you know that he is a big novelist and a very famous novelist. Everybody have read at least one of the books given by him, written by him. So he whatever he has written has been collected in a single file. So it was a 4.4 MB file. Okay, 3-layer RNN that was containing 512 hidden nodes of each layer was actually trained. So this is, here is a link also. So on the second slide there is a link. You can go and see on this particular link. Same code is available. So am I right? Yeah. So a neural network circuit, in RNN based neural network circuit was actually trained on this particular data. And after that, what was done? As you know that into the RNN circuit, you feed in one value, you get output something, and you feed again the same thing inside, you get another thing, and you keep getting until you get end of the word in the file like that. So after training on the original data, that was like this. First value was fed to the system. So system was able to give this y, this. It was giving something, and after that it was writing something, and it has produced this output. Don't read this and try to make sense of anything. However, you should only understand why it is called reset. Okay. Okay. So the question is this, that what I'm telling, that don't see that what is written over here. Try to understand the format. You can see that here also there is a capital names are there. He is also giving capital name that who is speaking something. After that, some text is coming. So similarly, some text is coming over here. There is a full stop, and after that there is a space, and again the things have been generated. So it looks like that something useful. It may not be that useful, but something similar is going to come from the system. System has learned some of the structures out of that. Very small code. So again, you can find out on the internet thing, and you can see that it has very even. You can see here also not more than 40 lines of code. Try to execute this by yourself. Here is another example number 3 that I wanted to discuss with you. So you know that, all of you know that what is the latex. So in the latex, if you want to write something, you write code for that. So there was a book on algebraic geometry. Okay, it was written into the latex. So all the code were available. So for that particular book, the code was available. So this code actually produced something like this. And don't ask me that what is the proof and what is this. very difficult for me and to tell you anything what is written over here. So it was written something like that on this particular book. And when the RNN circuit was actually trained on that, and we have got some output, so you see that this is the output that we get. So if you don't read it, you can simply tell that looks like that it is correct thing. Okay, he has written the correct thing. However, what this lemma means, nobody knows. But you can think that it starts the lemma, puts the dot. After that, and here the things are into italics. After that, there is a statement. Then it tells that there is a proof. After the proof, there is a dot. So a structure is going to come over here. In the same way, the person has written the book. Very interesting idea that it is going to learn many things from the things. Okay, next example. I think you will find it more related to yourself. So Linux code. So there is a web page. You can go and search for this particular code also. So Linux kernel code, you know that it is a very large code. It is written into the C programming language. 474 MB of the C code, Linux kernel code is there. So there is a Linux repository. You can find out all the kernel codes from there. So 3-layer LSTM was trained on this particular Linux kernel C code. Okay, so this is the right code. This is the code taken from the thing, and this is what was the generated. Okay, this was the code generated by this. So would you like to execute it on your machine? Definitely it is going to crash. Okay, so don't make sense of this, what is going to happen. But if you don't read it, so can you tell that this is a wrong code? You cannot tell. You just see that in the same way that the things are starting with the comment. Here also the things are starting with the comment. The static void, function name, bracket starting, bracket ending. So here curly braces start, curly braces end. At the end there is a return statement. Something is written like this. Every statement has a, you can see that semicolon. So syntax errors are also not there. Many things he have learned. So system has learned many things, and it was able to produce this kind of output. However, this particular repository actually reports that there are some kind of problems, such as, for example, you know that if you have a variable age a and you want to assign a value 10, so initially somewhere before this you have to write integer a. So this thing he was not able to understand. So sometime weird kind of variable can come up and you can assign some value to that. For example, this you are going to assign something like that, but this is defined somewhere. So it is, you can see that it is not being defined. Okay, buff 10, you can see that. I'm not sure about this, but you can just see that some more different constructs are not there, but it is able to understand the overall structure, overall pattern. So pattern finding is important, right? That how the things are related. This part for this particular thing, this circuit was excellent. Now let me talk about some very important application, and it was any innovative kind of use of the RNNs. Somebody was actually applied, and this is a very top conference. You also know that CVPR. So there was a paper by, and you know that Karpatri and Fili, they are the top researchers in this particular computer science and computer vision domain. So their paper, Deep Vision Semantic Alignment for Generating Image Descriptions. So this was a paper published in CVPR in 2015. So the idea they have actually proposed that, you know that into the RNN, what was that? There was a circuit, and in this circuit, I am going to provide the input. And what was the state? State was coming previous thing, okay? And you are getting some output, okay? On this, you are going to get some output also. Every time you are going to get the output, and then the state updates and you provide things over there. So here, initially I told you that what should be the initial state. So initial state, some of you have asked that question also. So I told you that it is not going to be that important. Anything can be taken, but here they have come up. Yet they told that why to take anything. Sometimes some meaningful information can also be fed into the system. Okay. So this is a point where they wanted to include some meaningful information at this particular place. Okay, let me tell you, what do I mean by this? So they were working on a problem called image captioning. Mean, given this image, how can I write a caption for this particular image? Okay, this is an image. I want to write a caption for this particular image. So they actually extracted some features using CNNs and then applied fully connected everything. And at the end, somehow they have come up with some kind of feature. So whatever feature they have come up, they were telling that why don't use this feature inside your computation step. So earlier, how you find out that what is the state? State is going to be that what is the input, what is the earlier state, multiply with the weights, related weights, and apply a 10H or any activation function on that. Now I am telling that use this value also inside this particular formula. And you say that there is another weight set of weight vector that we call Z. Z is multiplied by with the V, and this V is going to be constant across all the things. And you are going to train it. So with this simple change, where they are telling that a starting value is going to be a vector from him here, and also at every step I am going to use that value. This small change actually makes your network something that is related to this particular image. So first value that you get is stra, then head, then end. So the caption for this particular image is stra head end. So this is a neural network architecture that they have given. So interesting problem that if you modify this state formula using by including some other feature from outside, maybe your network is going to give you something related to that. And the same thing is happening over here. And you can see that initially it is going to give the input as a start. It is going to give stra. Stra is feeded again. You get hat. Hat is feeded again. You got end. So the stra hat is an output. Very interesting application. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any question, you are most welcome to ask.